Hello, welcome to Sure Shot Archery, and today I'm talking about what bow you should buy, and we're going to focus on limbs and limbs only. There's plenty to talk about on limbs, and I'm going to be giving you my experience with all these limbs here and some that are missing because I sold them, but that's a whole nother story. But I just want to give you the viewer an idea on what to expect, maybe as you get into archery, or maybe you've been doing it for a couple of years now and you're looking to upgrade and you're thinking, do I really need to? Should I? It's your money to spend. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money because you can spend it however you like, but at least I can give you a good idea on what to look out for, especially if you're a parent who has a young child or young adult that is looking to shoot archery or who is shooting archery currently. That way you can maybe alleviate some of the hidden expenses. But let's start off with my very first set of limbs. And they are these. These are Buckeye. I don't know if that's the official brand. I think it may just be the model for the bow. But it was an all-wood bow. It did have mounts for a sight and a stabilizer. No mounts for a clicker. It did have a hole for a plunger. A very basic bow. But at that point, I had, previously been making bows out of sticks I found outside. I was also only about 11, maybe 12 years old. And this bow was like my first real official bow. Very inexpensive, very lightweight. This bow is 20 pounds at 28 inches. It was a 62-inch bow. So it's perfect. It's not too heavy. I'm not going to hurt myself. At the same point in time, you're working on getting like a good, feel for archery without spending a ton of money up front. I don't have the exact numbers on how much, technically my parents spent because I was too young at that point to have a job. But I would say roughly for about $100, you got yourself a bow, and it may have even came with some accessories like an arm guard or something for your finger, some kind of finger tab, and you got into archery. I don't think it came with arrows, but arrows at that point are a dime a dozen anyway. They're cheap. We're not talking about fancy arrows here. I find this is the perfect price to get into archery, and I'm going to be showing you that. These limbs kind of break down into three categories: the beginner, the intermediate, and the expert. The expert's not really a really well-defined category. It's very broad. I feel like I am very well experienced in archery. I wouldn't call myself a professional because I do not get paid to do archery as a full-time job. So there's others, though, in this archery world we live in that do get paid. Those are definitely professional shooters. All they do is shoot archery all day. Major retailers and companies and stuff pay them to shoot their product. I am not that fortunate yet. Hopefully I can have that opportunity and get my skills of shooting a bow to that level where I have those opportunities. So if you think your kid wants to become an Olympian or something, don't go out and buy the $2,000 bow. Start small and move up, especially if they're young. They're going to outgrow it. A 62-inch bow is tiny for me now. I'm shooting a 70-inch bow currently, and it's a lot more than about $100. So now we move on to my second set of limbs. These are for a Pse Century. It was my first real competition bow. I was about 14. I could be off a little bit. This one I know for sure was about $150 for a riser, metal riser, with all the points to mount things. I had a place to mount a clicker and my sight and my stabilizer. I think these are like some kind of metal limbs too. Anyway, great bow. I still use it in some of my Arrow Versus videos as a lighter poundage bow. Again, 30 pounds at 28 inches, and it was a 64-inch bow total length. So that pretty much sums up the light beginner bow category. And for those adults out there that are watching this, Don't start yourself off with like 40 or 50 pounds. Um, as as an adult, you probably want to start somewhere in the 30-pound range, depending on what kind of physical activity you do outside of like archery and stuff like that. You want to start off very comfortable and stay very comfortable. That way, you're going to minimize hurting yourself, and at the same point in time, you can enjoy the sport without like making it seem like you're weightlifting or something, because that's not the point of archery. It's about precision and consistency. And the same thing goes for if you're a parent watching this, a child. You do not give them a lot of weight, because all that weight could be bad for their development. Of course, I'm not a doctor, so always ask your doctor on something like that. But I shot well, I wasn't super tall back then, but 20 pounds as a young kid was fine for me. I managed to make it to 6 foot tall. But now let's continue on to intermediate limbs. Now I had a few more sets of these. This is my first set. This is the first real expensive limb. About $150 for these Hoyt Epics. They are 32 pounds, and I think I was about 15, 16 when I got these. And I got them with my first real competition bow. It was a Hoyt Helix. Pretty cool bow. I ended up selling it at some point, but I still have the limbs because my brother actually shoots these limbs on his bow. Because he's so tall, he needs lighter limbs in order to make a lighter weight. Because if he shot 40-something pounds, he'd be well into the 50s. So he shoots a lighter limb, the 32s, and he's into the mid-40s because of it. But really good value for the price with like this intermediate level limb. This can take you, a great distance. You're getting a pretty good quality and build quality out of these limbs. You're getting performance. And the same point in time, you're not spending, all the money in the bank either. And that is going to lead us to our final sets of limbs. And I've been pretty much buying them now since 2013 or so, give or take. College division. I started going up into the high 40s into college division. I was about 19 or so, a few years back. But my first set was actually the Hoyt Formula F7 limbs. I sold them. I've had 2 sets of these Hoyt Quattros. Sold 1 set. This is my second one that I use for the Arrow Versus videos, if you've watched any of them. Good limbs, but you're talking a lot of money. And that's a lot to put out, just for a set of limbs. This ballpark with these is about $650, maybe more. That is a lot to invest unless you are serious in archery. These type of limbs are for somebody that is looking to probably make their national team, their international team for their country, Olympics, world championships. If you want to do something like that, then you want to work your way up to this. Don't start here, you're just going to be disappointed, because the equipment works well, but it doesn't shoot the bow for you. You, the archer, need to do that. Pretty much the price you're paying is for the highest quality manufacturing and design available, and repeatable performance, where if the arrow doesn't go exactly where you want it, odds are it's more you than the equipment. And the price you're paying is supposed to kind of alleviate that problem. So then it leads to my second to latest pair of limbs. These I bought from a friend. You can buy used equipment. All these limbs I've bought brand new, besides this pair I'm holding right here. Bought these from a friend of mine. He shot them a lot, and I've shot them quite a bit until my newest limbs came in. A great pair of limbs from MK Archery, the Veras. I don't think they make them anymore. I believe they're on the Vera 2s. But again, expert level limb. You're paying big money, but you're supposed to be getting a very high quality product. And so far, the MK ones I'm the happiest about. I feel like I've gotten my money's worth. They were a little bit more than the Hoyts, but I definitely feel like I've gotten a better quality product that's more consistent. My latest is these, my MK Voracity Limbs. I'm really happy with them. Believe it or not, they are a year old, and I have people walk up to me all the time at tournaments. They're like, "Wow, you got new limbs." Well, thank you for appreciating that, but no, they're a year old now, which sure is not a long period of time, but when you're shooting every day for hundreds of arrows, something making it a year, especially something that moves and flexes like a limb, you're definitely getting your money's worth out of them. So I hope this really painted a really good picture on where you want to go. If you're new to archery, start off inexpensive, see if you like it, see if you enjoy it. As you get more serious, then there is plenty of options to upgrade, either with brand new equipment, or if you know somebody that you can trust and rely on that sells you some used equipment, then go that route. Of course, you can start out with the best if you got the money in the bank, but that is up to you. So hopefully this helps some of you out and at least gave you an idea on what to look forward to in archery. Thank you for watching, and as always, happy shooting.